Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Engineering Our Future podcast. I'm your host, Duque, and welcome to the last episode of this year. What a year 2020 has been. And I just wanted to take some time to reflect and share kind of what I do at the end of the year in terms of reviewing my goals, planning for the future, and kind of my thought process as I enter a new year. And we all know that 2020 has been a crazy year, and more than ever, we need to be more conscious of how we're approaching a new year, an end of the year review. I've been very keen on making my weekly reviews, my daily reflections, and focusing on making those review steps as I go from the week to the month to the quarter, and now the big review of the year end review. And if you're someone that does not do reviews, I really encourage you to consider this because it's something that we all should be striving for. This is not something that your work does and you kind of just show up for your year-end review. This is something that we need to be doing as engineers and as young professionals on a weekly, on a monthly basis to make sure our goals and everything we're doing is aligned and it's working correctly. So I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been able to do this year and really thank you for a first year of doing this podcast. I've been hearing a lot of great comments, a lot of great advice and great reviews. And I've been talking to some amazing people. I already have like 4 interviews ready for next year, which I'm really excited to present to you when the new year comes around. But overall, 2020 has been a great year. I've been able to speak at different events, which has been a blessing. I've been able to do that through Zoom, through Google Meet, to all these platforms that are allowing people to communicate during these difficult times. And it's been a blessing to be part of these presentations. And people have asked me to talk to young engineers, give presentations about a number of topics. And it's been a blessing just to be more involved and just share my experiences. So in terms of the podcast has gotten about 1,500 downloads, which is crazy to think about. That I just started this about 8 months ago, and it's growing tremendously. We have listeners from pretty much every state in the US, and I recently checked, and I think there were about 30 to 40 countries in that list, which is crazy to think about. So many people are finding this show and are finding this show insightful and useful. Some other things that I have coming up for next year is I'm starting a new newsletter where I'll be kind of sharing more of the behind the scenes kind of things I'm learning, things that I'm reviewing, and more content about this podcast directly into your inbox. So if you are interested in subscribing to the newsletter, I'll leave a link in the description below, as well as on my website and everywhere where you see me on social media and everything. You can find that link for the newsletter. I will be planning during the next couple of weeks, but come new year, I'll be sending some exclusive contents, templates, and some new exciting news in terms of where this podcast and kind of this new adventure is going. Because there is the newsletter. I'm also planning on launching like a shop where I'll be both selling some content, some templates, some stuff online, as well as giving some out for free. And all that information will be on the weekly or bi-weekly newsletter. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with that. But make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. It's going to be providing a lot of great content that it's only going to be shared on the newsletter, from personal experiences to new insight from books and articles I'm reading to exclusive deals and everything kind of going on around my life. So make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Something I'm really excited about getting going, and really excited to get that going on 2021. So before we start today's episode, let me tell you about the podcast sponsors. If you have been listening to the show for a little while, you know that PPI has been a fantastic sponsor for the podcast. They provide a amazing number of resources for the FE, the PE, and the SE exam. They have thousands and thousands of questions, and answers online, as well as just a number of books and resources for you to pass your exam. So yeah, PPI has been a great sponsor for the podcast, and I fully support kind of all they're doing. And I know when I was studying for the FE, they had some really amazing resources that I got, and actually passed my FE on the first try as an international student with very limited English. So it was something that I really enjoyed, and I really praise for them giving those resources out. So if you want to get 15% off their products, go to ppi2pass.com/Duque, and you'll be able to get a discount on some of their products. Yeah, so thank you PPI for supporting the podcast, and I hope you guys take advantage of that 15% code. Another podcast partner is Audible, and Audible has the largest library in terms of audiobooks, um, podcasts, stories, a lot of information they have on their platform, and they have a free trial for the premium membership for 1 month, as well as a free audiobook for the listeners of this show. So if you go to audibletrial.com/engineering our future, you'll be able to take advantage of this promotion. And again, thank you Audible and PPI for being sponsors of this show and for supporting my mission. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into today's content. Welcome to the Engineering Our Future podcast, a podcast where I bring you relevant content from personal experience and guests to help young engineers, students, and international students succeed in their careers. So today, I just want to kind of run by what I do in terms of reviews and in terms of kind of my routine as I perform these reviews for myself. And the way I like to think about these reviews is like cleaning the house. It doesn't really matter if you are the most clean person or the most organized person. At some point, your house is gonna start getting a little messier. The kitchen may have a few dishes on the sink. You may forget to fold a few blankets around the house. Your office starts to get some clutter and everything. And you need to take a day, maybe a few hours kind of during the weekend or sometime during the week to clean up and go around your house and clean up everything. The way I like to think about my weekly reviews is the same way as I think about cleaning my house. Every night, once in a while, I need to start kind of closing some loose ends, cleaning my inbox, my email inbox, my files inbox, everything kind of around my productivity system as well as kind of my organizational system needs some cleanup at the end of the week. No matter how organized I stay during the week, there is always something that I need to clean at the end of the week. And with that being said, I think it's really important for you to consider having a daily routine where you at least kind of bring back to mind some of the most important events during the day. I like to have a morning reflection and a night reflection where I very quickly, less than 2 minutes, write down some of the things I'm grateful for, some of the things I've learned that day, some habit tracking as applicable, to make sure I am on the right track and I'm not kind of drifting away from my goals on a day-to-day basis. Once I get to the weekly review, that's when I do a little more comprehensive, close some loose ends, capture all my ideas into documents, and do everything on that review that is going to set me up better for the following week. Beyond that, I do a typical monthly review, a quarter review, and obviously the big year review. But on this episode, I want to focus on the weekly review because I believe this one is one of the most important ones. Because if you focus on doing these reviews constantly, you are going to be more organized. You're going to be able to stay on track for your goals, which is the main goal of having these weekly reviews. So let's just jump right into why I do it and how I do these weekly reviews. So as I said before, these weekly reviews serve as a way of me cleaning my inbox, capturing ideas I may have during the week, closing some loose ends in terms of tasks that may falling behind or some projects that may need some attention. That's how I capture everything on that weekly review. So some of the things that I like to review on that weekly review are my, as I said, email inbox. I clean that inbox zero. I start my week fresh, zero emails in my inbox. That's something that I'm very keen on, because the more email I receive and the more I keep it on the inbox, the more stress I get. I need to get to that, clean it up, even if it's archiving some random emails that I get. I need to clean it up. And after that, I do a review of my mission and vision statement, which has something I implemented about, I want to say, 5 months ago, and I just have it there. It evolves week after week. As I read it, as I have new experiences, I understand that having that vision and mission statement clarifies my actions during the week and during the month, and all the activities that I do, the podcast that I do, the blogs, the all the things around my personal brand are related to that vision and mission statement that I have, and I review weekly to make sure I'm following it and to make sure I am still on track on the things that I said I was gonna do. Beyond that, I like to capture articles, books, podcasts that I listen to, um, tweets that I may read that are insightful, and I use a really cool service called Readwise, which integrates with Kindle for books, Instapaper for articles, and Air for podcasts. And it literally just changed my mind when I found that service, because every time I highlight something on Kindle, I highlight something on Air for podcasts, which is an amazing new app, or I'm reading an article and I find it insightful. I highlight a few passages and a few sentences that I think have some value. Readwise combines all of that and sends it automatically to my Notion database. I've spoken about Notion in the past. If you want to learn more about it, reach out to me. I have some blog posts on the website, but there are thousands and thousands of views about it, and it's a really powerful organization and just overall productivity app that has helped me just be more organized. And Readwise kind of has increased the value of this app, because I'm able to kind of record this immense amount of information in a single week, and then have it all condensed into the highlights on the or the best parts of this information into a database in Notion, that I then at the end of the week I go through, review, kind of sort the most important articles, kind of summarize some of these new knowledge that I gained, and then try to apply it for the following week. Now, beyond that, I believe it's very important to kind of look back at kind of the things you accomplished the previous week. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times, if you have a really stressful week, a really long week, you kind of get to the end, and you start thinking, where did the week go? And sometimes it's just nice to kind of look back and realize that even though it was a busy week, maybe a week that you didn't feel the greatest in terms of your productivity, in terms of your accomplishments, you're able to look back at your tasks, at your projects, and all the things you were doing during that week, and realize that even though you may not feel that it was a productive week, at the end of the week, you're going to look back and say, okay, there may be some things that I can help, that I can work on, but it was a great week. I was able to accomplish X, Y, and Z task. I made progress on these projects. I made these connections, so on. You get the point. And this has been another game changer, just because I honestly have very short memory, and if I don't write something on paper, or if it's not on my task management system or on the calendar, it's not gonna happen. I have way too many things going on my head that are preventing me from remembering kind of those small things. And the brain really is not a place to store ideas. The brain is a place to create ideas. So that's why I use Notion, and I use all these systems to store the ideas for me. And this kind of came from building a second brain from Tiago Forte. He's an amazing person that has some incredible content about this topic, and I found a lot of value reading through his notes, his podcast, all the things that he's going on. It's really amazing just to hear and learn from all these people. So that's kind of what I do for my weekly review. And the thing that I try to remember is that my weekly review is to reflect on the past week, see how that it's affecting next week, plan and clarify and close the loose ends and clean up my digital space, my mental space, everything, and bring all that into a better version of myself for the following week. And every time I do my weekly review, I feel more empowered to help others, more productive, more overall happy that I'm doing all of these things. I'm helping other engineers with the podcast. I'm helping other engineers through the website when they reach out to me, and it's very encouraging to see that all the work that I'm putting on these podcasts and all the things that I've going on in my life are really helping people improve in their careers. So it's something that has been a great experience and I'm very grateful for. And thinking of 2020, it's been crazy to think that I was able to have already 20 podcast episodes. That's 20 podcast episodes for this episode right now. And I remember sitting mid-March, beginning of March, trying to plan what I was going to do with the podcast. And I had 4 or 5 ideas. And I was like, if those 4 or 5 ideas are completed, I have no idea where this is going. And thinking that I'm on episode 20 is just incredible. And all of this is because I've received some amazing feedback and I've received some encouragement from you guys, listeners, and all the people that are watching this video. So thank you so much for continue to listen to the podcast. Thank you so much for subscribing and for sharing with friends and for continue to support kind of this mission that started from a simple idea and it just become something really amazing. So that's basically it for today. The weekly review, I really encourage you to give it a try. I am going to be sharing my personal template of how I conduct these weekly reviews on the newsletter. So make sure you subscribe on that newsletter to receive the template here in a week or two as I continue to perfect it. And again, I'm going to be releasing my monthly, my quarterly, and my yearly review kind of in the future through the newsletter. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you subscribe so you can get all that information. Again, I have no words to thank all of you for continuing to listen to the podcast. 1,500 downloads is not a small number. If you were to ask me 9 months ago if I thought this podcast was going to be at 1,500 downloads, 20 episodes, finishing 2020, I would think you have been crazy. It definitely started a little slow, and it was a great adventure just to learn how to record audio, video, edit these things, and just learn along the way. And I think it's been great to have all of you during this journey. I'm always open to receiving questions and open to answering those questions. Reach out to me on social media. If you have reached out to me in the past, thank you. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you reaching out, because the feedback that I'm receiving is great, and just knowing that people are listening and interested in the topics and the guests that I'm bringing, it means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all the great places where you listen to the podcast. Make sure you rate it on Apple Podcasts. It really helps just get the word out there. And I've been working hard on improving the website to kind of present the podcast in a better way. So make sure you check it out. Let me know what you think. I've been trying to add some more great features for you to reach out to me. And honestly, the best way just to reach out to me on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on the YouTube comments. Send me an email. I'm always open to listen to your feedback and just have a great conversation with all of you. 2020, what a year it has been. and you guys have made it a lot better with all your support and everything kind of going on. So I'm very excited for 2021. It is really going to be an amazing year. I have some great content lined up, as I said already. Kind of the podcast is basically planned all the way through February, which is amazing. Some really insightful guests, and I'm excited just to share all the great things that have been happening around my career and the podcast and everything. But yeah, I've been talking for a little too long. Hopefully, wasn't a too long of an episode, and I'm very grateful for all of you. And I cannot thank you enough for continuing to listen to the podcast. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you on the next one. But for now, let's continue engineering our future.